Let's get started. Raise your hand. We'll bring the microphones your way, and this may be as long as the Pac-12 call. Other questions? In the front, Ryan.
Mark, last year, Washington's defense, I think, had 3 players that were active and another one go to the NFL, and now this year they seem to be much improved. What's been the major change with them?
Well, there haven't been, that many changes from as far as we're concerned, from a production standpoint. They've had, I think they're leading the league pretty much every category right now defensively. Got experience back on the back end. Obviously lost to one DB, partway through last season. And so all those guys are intact and playing confidently. They do a great job of mixing man zone principles by percentage, by down and distance very well. And then the front guys are just physical, active guys. They eat up a lot of gaps in a bunch of the line movements they do, change up a bunch of 2-down looks, kind of a four down principles with 2 defensive linemen, and mixing in multiple fronts. Those guys have gotten after people, but playing with a ton of confidence and great scheme.
Chris Peterson said that he thought Vernon would start Saturday for whatever that's worth. We saw how good he was at Michigan State, though. Vernon, what would that mean, just kind of a boost to your team if VA was able to play on Saturday?
Did Pete give you is there any other information exchanged? Anything else we should do? We need to play better everywhere. And, obviously the focal point is at quarterback, and some of the issues that we've had at that position are obviously highlighted because of it. But we'll see.
Aaron?
Scott Frost talked yesterday about finding more consistency at quarterback, and he seemed to intimate that maybe you guys were going to pick someone early and give that guy most of the reps. Is that the case, or are you still going to do the wait and see approach for Saturday?
Well, the wait and see approach is by necessity, just of the health of a couple guys. And then we have talked about that of trying to iron it down to one guy, trying to get into a rhythm, because there were some plays to be made that for whatever reason weren't made, and that's not. I'm not putting that on the players, putting that on us of whether it's getting a guy in a rhythm, getting a feel for things, whatever that right frame of mind is. Maybe that is one guy, but we had a productive day of practice today on offense, and as we kind of tighten up the game plan here going forward, we'll figure that out.
Kristen in the back.
Because you guys are focusing on, bouncing back and kind of getting this team together, that this is kind of being swept under the rug. But how big is the rivalry against Washington?
Well, we don't really talk, too much. I mean, I think you educate guys on the rivalry as we have so many guys from around the country that maybe don't quote unquote get it. But we don't, on a weekly basis, we don't talk about the opponent too much in that regard. I absolutely know what it means, and we're focused on our team and getting better and improving and competing every single day. Especially those young guys that maybe are blind to what you're talking about. They need to focus on technique and execution and confidence, and that happens by having a great Tuesday. Not worried about what happened in 1978, and that's not to discount 1978. I'm sure it was a great year, but we have to improve right now.
Matt?
Chenander said that you guys have a video package that you show of Washington's trick plays. How far do you guys go back to pull those? And then what's the key to being prepared to stop it?
Yeah, we their staff now, has kind of feathered off into a bunch of different, there's a few guys that have been in 4 places in 4 years. There's various, it's not just the Boise State crew necessarily. And so it's varied, whether it's special teams or offense. And then the biggest thing is just your job. Eye discipline on exactly what your job is. And, they've done a great job with just shifting and motioning, moving around and running a base kind of package of plays, and then having a trick off that. And that's where, just eye discipline, focus, discipline on your job is is absolutely vital. You know, they had that really sprung the USC game, the double pass, and you know they've had a couple near misses, had some touchdowns on those plays. But yeah, as a coach, that's one of those things you're trying to find. You go back as far as you possibly can and break out the 16 millimeter film and find wherever it is.
You guys often talk about the horizontal philosophy of leadership, but some of the players were talking about the need for 2 or 3 guys to step up and kind of grab hold of this thing. Are you seeing that happen from inside the locker room, and who are those guys if it is happening? Yeah, I mean, the 2 guys that, just as you were talking, that jumped out in my mind were Rodney Hardrick and Tyler Johnstone as vocal guys, and that again is just, you know, there's so many of these guys that you're looking at and talking about horizontal leadership, all these things that we've talked about a bunch in the past, and they're just, you know, so focused on trying to not make a mistake. And that's the absolute antithesis of how we want guys to think. We want guys to cut it loose every single day and correct what needs to be corrected. But if you're going half speed and sort of doing the right thing, that doesn't help anybody. You know, certainly yourself or the team. But just of playing more freely and building confidence for a reason. You know, because you've done something. You've done something fast, right or wrong, and improved, and you know, eventually done the right thing. You're going to be confident, then more vocal, then that kind of infects everybody else.
Any more questions? Thanks.
All right.
No,
Right.
we have another
At the
question.
buzzer.
Okay. You don't have to.
Just an update on availability for Darren Carrington this week. Is he going to suit up and or play?
If there's a change, we'll announce that kind of stuff after the. Sorry, getting distracted here. After the game. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.